Hello, it's Chris from My Stamp Lady, and if you don't know me, I've been a demonstrator for Stampin' Up! For almost 19 years, and I've been stamping slightly longer, so I've been doing this a long time, and it's amazing how much it's changed. So we're working with the Oh So Eclectic bundle today. That includes this stamp set and this coordinating framelit set. I'm also going to be using the Stitched Shapes framelits. They come with squares, circles, and ovals, and I will also be using the layered circles. These are the stamp sets and dies that I'll be using. Then the kind of one of the highlights of this particular video is going to be using the brand new texture paste that Stampin' Up! Is carrying. So a good piece to coordinate with that is this mask set. So it comes with 4 different masks, and then the last mask that is included that I'm not using is this one, and then the brick wall look is the one that I'm going to be using today. So with that, texture paste comes in a little jar like this, and texture paste does dry fairly quickly, so you want to make sure that you are using it and then closing it up right away. So there's my texture paste. Put that back in there. I didn't just open it, has been opened, but that must just stick down to that. So it's a little white paste, and you can use ink refill to color it. And another good tool to have with that are these palette knives, and Stampin' Up! Sells the 3 of them like this that come together. And use this one. I'm going to pull just a little bit of paste out of here. I'm putting this on my silicone mat because it'd be good and easy to come off, and I closed that up right away. Another thing that I have here while I have the texture paste is I've taken a little container of water so that I can have it right here and right away wash up things, because if you don't wash it up quickly, the stuff can dry and stain, you won't be able to get it off. So I am going to use my lemon lime twist, and I'm not really worried about this one. I'm not really worried about this one moving. If you were worried about your smaller cardstock moving, then you would want to tape this down. But I'm just going to do in the center here and not going to worry about it. So let's go ahead. And actually I could have taken this right out of the jar. You really want the silicone mat. I'm just realizing as I'm using this all up, you really want the silicone mat when you're mixing it with a color. So I'm going to use just a bit more here, going in and spreading it. It does dry fairly quickly, but I did want to give it some time to dry, so I did this first, and then I'll set it aside. Okay, so now I can scrape off all the excess and just put it back in the jar. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to just set my tool right in that water so it doesn't dry on there for me. Then I could just pick up my mask, and now I have this texture paste on the background. So I'm going to set that aside to let it dry. And I'm going to take a minute and right away use my water, wash up my mask and my tool so that I don't have texture paste dried on there. If you have a sink right by, obviously that would be a great thing to do. I don't have a sink right here, so I have this little container. Okay, so while that's drying, I'm going to do some stamping. And with the powder pink, I'm going to stamp a background here on this piece here. And then with Berry Burst, we'll go over that with the details. And I'm just going to kind of, this does not need a precise lining up. This is just kind of a general lining up. So I will just stamp that over that. And then on here, I will take, and let's do, actually I'm going to skip over to this one, and we'll do a Tranquil Tide. And on there I have my sentiment, which is actually from the, this is from the Colorful Layers stamp set, and it says, "You make me smile." And so I'll just ink that right up there, stamp that. I'm stamping a few things, and then I will go in and die cut all these items. So let's see, I have crushed curry and Daffodil Delight. So let's stamp this flower here. And I am using crushed curry for the outline of the flower. And then the background of the flower, using a little bit of Daffodil Delight. We'll stamp that right in there. It's a little bit off, but this kind of has an off look to it. If you want to be more precise, you can always use a Stamp-A-Majig. Okay, so let me pull in my Big Shot platform with the acrylic plate on there. I've got all these lined up here now onto my platform, and I'll run this through the Big Shot. I need a couple more items run through. I need a circle from that layering circle, and you notice that this die here just cuts kind of the inside and leaves the outside, and that's so you can use it to just cut an area, and you could make it, you know, leave it in there and use the, flip that over. I'm getting a little bit of a bow in there, and it'll work better if it's bowed down towards the bottom. Okay, so go back to this now, and it's left like that so you can just cut out the details and then leave it in a bigger sheet of cardstock. But I don't want it that way, so it does also line up with the top of this die. So I'm lining that up, and I'm going to run this through the Big Shot. Okay, so I have my pieces, and I'm going to pull in an aqua painter and a little bit of the Tranquil Tide, and just grab a little bit of the Tranquil Tide and go in here. Most of this stem is going to be behind the front pieces, so it's not that critical. Now let's layer. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to place this down, and let me grab my mini glue dots. There we go. Let's see, where do they start? We'll put a couple of mini glue dots on the back side here, and I would like that to go about right there. And now I have my sentiment, and let's see, we can put that. Now of course I'm going to tell you that I did kind of work with this ahead of time, so I have some idea of where I want everything, and let's place that there. Now notice that I did place these hanging off, so this would be a great time to pull in that silicone pad, because then they won't stick to my work surface. And I did add a few. I have some of my mini glue dots that are sticking out. So now this is a length of the Tranquil Tide woven ribbon, and I'm just going to use mini glue dots again and just kind of put it in half like that, and this is going to go just right in here. Now for the rest of this, I want it to stick up a little bit, meaning that I want it to have a little bit of dimension. So I will use some dimensionals to place that down, and I'm just going to place that right there. Just going to use a mini glue dot. So just kind of placing this on the back side here. There. Oh, I like that. Okay, so now I have it where I want it. I'm going to add a little mini glue dot under there, so because my dimensional pretty much stuck to the ribbon, which is fine. It's just, but then I want that to be down, so let's just, there we go. That will hold that better. So there's my kind of my focal piece to go onto the front of the card. Okay, so with the aqua painter, I'm going to add just a little bit of the Daffodil Delight to the center there. Now I can do my layers of my card. I have a piece of thick Whisper White for my card base, which this is just the half a sheet of the thick Whisper White, scored at 4 1/4 inches. And then this piece is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And we'll just use the fast fuse, place this down in the center. Now with the fast fuse, you do need to be sure to do those check marks, and that will prevent you from getting strings kind of pulling up from it. And the other thing about that, I'm going to put it on here because I don't want to, because the next piece, even though it's dry, I just don't want to squish it. So I'm going to put it down on here. The other thing is you want to keep your hand or your finger away from the top there. Do the check marks, you will, it will come off really nicely off of the roll for you. I like to use the Fast Fuse because it's a very strong adhesive. Okay, so there we go. And now I can just add some adhesive on the back here. Sorry, you probably didn't see me. I kind of did that off camera. I just put some adhesive on the back of my focal piece here. And we'll put this whole piece kind of down on this left side. And then to finish up this card, ooh, look at that. I love that background. It gives it a lot of texture. It gives it some dimension. And it's just a really nice background. So I'm using some of the medium-sized sequins from the new metallic sequin collection or set. And the thing about this is they come in 3 sizes now. They've changed out the clear for the iridescent and they've added copper. So it's a really awesome new metallic sequin set. I really, really like it. So now I'm going to add some sequins down the front here. Pull in my tweezer. I chose to use all medium-sized ones for this particular card. Okay, so with that fine tip glue, I added those iridescent sequins across the front there. And I have a card with a lot of texture with the texture paste on the background. And then, of course, you can add a sentiment if you have one you like, or just add some images on the inside. So if you have any questions about what I've done, don't hesitate to contact me, Chris, at mystamplady.com. And you can find all the supplies in my online store at shopwithmystamplady.com. Thanks for joining me today.